This episode of Bourbon on Ice, presented by your friend Frosty and your bartender, Mike Whiskey, is brought to you by the Cape Media Center of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The views and opinions expressed during this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of the Cape Media Center. Listener discretion is advised.
Fire! Fire! Outside! Fire!
Yes, that is neighbor's fire pit.
Oh, I thought that you had joined me on the dark side and finally decided to wage war against nature.
No.
That's disappointing.
Roll the music.
Welcome, listeners, to Bourbon on Ice.
Where we talk about everything nerdy, like gentlemen.
Join us every week for our local Cape Cod take on, well, everything.
Laugh, cry, be confused, and laugh some more.
I'm your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey.
Stay tuned. You think they'll like the episode?
Oh, they'll definitely love it. Hello and welcome.
I can't go on. You'll
What?
have to carry the episode.
Why? What's going on? You okay?
It's
Do you
been
need
a
to talk
day.
about? Do you need to talk about it?
Absolutely, yes. I'd like to talk about myself for the next hour or so. Would you mind just leaving the room? Okay, audience, this morning Hi, everyone. Yes, it's me. Did you think I was going to be quiet? No.
You know, you have that song on your playlist.
What song?
I like talking about you, but occasionally I
I
want
want
to talk about me.
want to talk about I want to talk about number one. Oh, my, Toby Keith. I want to talk about me, yeah.
But I really feel like that should be on my playlist. I love talking about you.
I went to karaoke and I saw that on the list. I'm like, oh, what the hell? I just jumped up and sang it. I'm like, I'm surprised I can actually pull this off.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I am your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey,
And this is Bourbon on Ice.
where we talk all things nerdy,
Like gentlemen. Which I maintain neither of us are.
I mean, technically I am.
Boo. Boo. So, everyone, the summer is here, and the time is right to go outside, roll in that hay, and bask in that sunshine. And...
Have you ever rolled in hay, Frosty?
No. Who the hell does that? That's crazy.
It's not fun.
It's scratchy, and you get some stuff stuck in your hair, and it's scratchy.
And, like, afterwards you stay all itchy for a while.
And it's scratchy.
Yeah.
I've said this 3 times. I'm trying to make the point. People, stay away from hay.
Unless you are accustomed to it, in which case it's not that bad.
Farm boy. Or, instead of going outside and enjoying the horrible things that nature has in store for you, lurking just around the corner waiting to zock you.
You could make me watch a 3.5 hour long Pokemon video.
And that's what I did.
And that's what I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can't stop it. It's too late. You stumbled into another installment of the Cape Cod Nerd Word. Yes.
Brought to you in stereo.
Yes. This is something that is deep, and I know that you've got people who are like, oh, Pokemon, they're going to be talking about Pokemon. We're checking out. Like, no, you will sit right there because this is good.
It was actually really good.
This is something good. Okay. So, to the internet, away.
Whoosh.
I love that little sound effect I found for it. It's fun. I mean, I know you're sitting there like, oh, I don't have a sound effect, but you literally say roll the music and then we have to roll the intro.
That is my sound effect.
Whatever you say.
I don't hear boss music, I have boss music.
I know, and it happens when you say...
Roll the music.
See, there it is, right there. It's happening. Yeah. Okay, let me stop that. I've been listening to the podcast, what is it called? Fake Doctors, Real Friends, hosted by Donald Faison and Zach Braff from the long-running sitcom Scrubs. And one of the jokes that they have in it is that whenever one of them says 5, 6, 7, 8, they roll the theme music. So they have guests on who take advantage of this, and they have nothing else to say or just want to screw with them. They suddenly shout 5, 6, 7, 8, and the theme music starts. And like, Dan, stop the theme music. Dan in the sound booth, stop that this instant. It happens. Okay, so we have to talk about this amazing movie.
Like I said, it's 3.5 hours long, and once you get about half an hour in, you are there for the whole ride.
Now, what exactly is this that we are talking about?
We're talking about a fan animation.
premiering November 19th, 2022. Let me
Paint us a picture, Frosty.
Okay, so as everyone knows, I am a person who has ADHD and OCD and a whole bunch of other things, so I don't take things lightly. I have to be doing lots of things at once. As such, I tend to make gigantic lists of things that I will get to at some point, I swear. You should see, like, the piles of books in my house that I'm steadily working my way through, the list of movies on my Netflix queue, the list of games I haven't started, all this stuff. And this also extends to YouTube. I have a watch later list that is so long I had to break it into a second list. And those lists, and you can't go past 5,000 videos.
Wow.
So we're talking, I had like more than 5,000 videos that I had to watch.
Holy cow.
And what I would do is I would, whenever I had a spare moment, and usually when I'm getting ready for work in the morning, I turn on the watch later video list and just let it run as I'm going through these. One of the things that I added so long ago, like I said, this actually came out in 2022, November 19th.
So a while ago.
I glanced at it, and it's called Pokémon Red Full Game Animation.
And boy howdy.
3.5 hours. No offense, that did not flip my switch. I'm like, oh, I'm sure I'll get to this at some point. So I stuck it on the list, and God knows when I did it, and God knows when I eventually got around to looking at it again. But all of a sudden...
I'm glad you did, because I'm glad I watched this.
I was captivated.
Like I said, about half an hour in, I was glued to my seat.
What exactly is this that we are talking about? This is a movie created by an online artist, animator, known as Pedro Araujo. I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. That's Araujo. I have a friend named Corey Araujo, and that's how he pronounces his name. So I'm assuming they're the same. And you can find him on Twitter at Pedro Araujo Stew. He is open for commissions, and he's got a direct link there to his YouTube. And if you're on YouTube and you find him, you have a direct link back to Twitter. It's a wonderful cycle.
It's infinite regression.
The man has thousands of followers.
For good reason.
This video is a hand-drawn, animated video, which, in Pedro's own words, took him years, literal years, to come together. He didn't just say one day, hey, I'm going to sit down and write this. He has been coming up with this movie, scripting it out, storyboarding it, and animating segments and putting them up. Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time, going back years.
Yep.
And at long last, he finished it and decided to sew the entire thing together in one movie. And the result is, I'm sorry,
It's a thing of beauty.
overwhelmed with emotion. Oh my gosh, I still have that.
Yes.
I thought that those would be pushed away. I thought I had successfully dealt with those.
You ground them into tiny motes of dust.
I must
You
have
swept
inhaled
them
the dust.
under. You swept them under the rug of your heart, but they're still there. I left him speechless.
Damn, that's poetic, bro. I love that.
Little dust bunnies of emotion.
Oh, Dust Bunnies of Emotion will be a great name for a band.
Maybe a song, but maybe not a band.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Our next song is called Dust Bunnies of Emotion. It's about that moment when, well, you'll listen to the song, you'll understand. Dust Bunnies of Emotion.
No, I feel like it's more of a sweeping instrumental start.
5 minutes, and then we finally hear the lyrics.
Just one stanza. And then we have like another 5 minutes of sweeping instrumentals.
Maybe some electronic violin in there.
You want to get Lindsay Sterling to cover with us?
We will have to get her to do this. By the way, cheers. We are in the bar. Huzzah. I'm feeling better. And I'm going to put this glass over here so if I accidentally knock it over, it'll land in your lap instead of mine.
You diabolical fiend.
I've been told.
This is the repayment I get for mixing that drink for you?
There's very little alcohol in it. It might require a refreshment. As in, there's no alcohol at all. I've had a tough day. Anyway, I was walking through the office one day, and I was looking at all the packages, and I happened to glance at the section where it says live insects, and it was empty. And I looked at everyone and said, You ever stop and think that potentially any one of these boxes could contain poisonous spiders or live hornets? There was a dead silence, and Deb looks over at me and says, "Well, we do now. Thank you for that." And I said, "That's what I'm here for."
Fish, insects.
I finally saw a box that said live fish on it.
Yep.
They had another Pokemon on it. They had a Magikarp. I don't know why the people in my office love Pokemon, but for live insects, there is a Caterpie.
Yep.
For live fish, there is a Magikarp. I have no idea what it's going to be if it's live animals. Maybe a little Pikachu or something. It'll be funny. Okay, but at any rate, getting back to this.
I hope it's a Torchic for chickens.
I don't know if... Okay. Getting back to this. This movie that we are about to go through, we're about to rip into tiny shreds of joy and devour them, savoring every morsel of flavor.
This was nostalgia bait at its finest.
And I just want to say that we are not the only ones who have found this. This is not some unknown tiny thing that just popped up on a corner of the internet that no one knows about. I'm looking at the video right now. It has 98K likes for a man who has over 500,000 subscribers.
Okay. But how many views?
Let's see. As of today, the 19th, where we are recording this.
Yep.
3,558,278 since its premiere.
Now that's some good numbers.
Yeah. This animation is a tribute to the very first game of Pokémon, following the main events of original Pokémon Red, adding some elements of modern games, remakes, and fan theories. This covers the full game since the first gym leader battle to the Elite Four and League Champion. Enjoy.
That's the description.
That's the description, and I am in AWE. AWU.
Aw.
Did you... Are you hurt?
No.
Okay.
The word you're spelling is pronounced aw.
But it looks like AWU.
No.
Okay. Well, we'll have to look that up later. I'm sure I'm right.
Just wait until we introduce him to the word you.
Who's the English major? Wait, I'm starting to understand why I'm no longer in college.
Ouch.
And I'm just going to throw this out there. As I said, we are not the only ones who have heard of this. There have been write-ups about this.
Write-ups?
There's been a claim for this. This has been shared all across the internet. It is a big thing. People know about this. And the fact that it took me so long to find this and then had to rope whiskey into it, and the two of us were like, 3 hours. But then we just got sucked in. Alice down the rabbit hole-esque. It's a crime. We should have been on top of this. We should have been following this for day one. But who knew that such genius lurked out there?
Yeah, we should have known about this much, much sooner.
So what is this? Let me, I shared a little, but let me talk a little more about it. Pokemon is a game, a video game. You may have heard of it. We may have mentioned it once, only once, in passing.
Twice. We had 2 episodes dedicated to it.
In passing.
What do you mean in passing?
I dare.
Passing gas?
I dare the people to look back and find a single mention that we have done of it. I'm pretty sure we have not.
I can think of 4 or 5 times off the top of my head.
Moving on. The entire game, roughly about, 25-hour game? No, longer. People can play Pokemon, the original games, Red and Blue, for the Game Boy in 1996. That's how far back we are going here, people. We're almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
People could play these games, and you could play them almost indefinitely. Finding Pokemon, battling people, trading with friends, and then starting over and over. But the thing is, these were rudimentary games. I hate to say that phrase, but we are looking back at a system that was not the most advanced.
Nope.
And, text-based adventures, 16-bit music, all of that stuff, and yet it stood the test of time. And as time has gone on, it's gotten so big.
Pokemon has literally become the largest franchise in the world. It's bigger than Disney. It's bigger than anyone else.
I agree. Ooh, I was channeling my inner Keegan-Michael Key there from Storks. That's a reference. You won't understand it. Moving on. As time went on, as I said, a bit rudimentary, especially in storytelling, people started coming up with comics, stories, books, write-ins, all this stuff. You can go back and find fan art making this simple game so much bigger than it was. People re-envisioning the music, the battles, the storylines, basically going crazy with it, to the point that Pokemon fan art is a drop in a very, very big ocean. And that's not even counting the X-rated porn you can find under Rule 43.
Don't look that up.
Do not. It will haunt you. It will scar you. Oh, there's this one of an Arbok with a guy. Okay, moving on.
TMI.
Snakes are sexy. I'm just going to say that now. I dare anyone to prove me wrong. I feel I should move on. I'm getting a look from Whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay. As such, you have had some people who have taken the concept of Pokemon Red or Blue and changed it over time by writing up stories and all sorts of things. And this one guy, he did not only a story, but he animated the entire thing. And it was more than just fan service. This movie went beyond it, with heartbreaking storyline, intense music, actual romance, better than Twilight, people. Which is not hard to do.
No, it's not.
And it makes for a 3.5-hour movie, which is absolutely frickin' bananas. Whiskey, did you like it?
I did enjoy it.
I'd like to think that we both enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed all the subtle references, all of the all of the magazines that people were reading were actually magazines that you could find in the game, in Fire Red and Leaf Green.
There are ridiculous small jokes owing to, like, some of the ridiculous small things that would happen in the game. Running into an old man who tells you, oh, you cannot go into the tall grass, and...
Let me show you how to catch Pokemon.
And they made references to it in here. But as Whiskey said, like 30 minutes into this, you realize this is not just a silly thing. It's full of actual emotion. And I think the moment that came for me was when...
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Lieutenant Surge?
Was in about 38 minutes in, you experience an actual honest-to-God death.
Oh, yes.
We're not spoiling too much for you people, but we will try and be spoiler-light.
So, it's a fan theory that's popular around the internet that the reason why Gary, or Blue, does not use Eradicate after your battle on the SSN is because you killed him. Because the next time you see Gary is at the Pokemon Tower, the graveyard.
And honestly, I thought that was just a joke. I had never known about that. And then I look online, oh, wow, there's a theory. There's people run with this.
Yeah.
They took that and they made that into an entire segment of the movie in which the main character accidentally causes the death of one of his, of Gary's Raticate, one of his Pokemon, at sea. There is a daring rescue. It fails. Both are traumatized. They go their separate ways. One of them has to rekindle his fire and learn how to overcome the sadness. The other one has such pain and guilt that he himself has to be trained in an awesome
montage with Lieutenant Surge.
Oh, heavy metal.
Lightning American.
And at that point I said, this is not a small thing. This is big. Someone really took some time.
They know their stuff. This is not something to go into lightly. You need a lot of knowledge to get the most out of this experience.
And as I've said, this was like almost just over half an hour in. I realized that this is not light and fluffy. I stopped watching this for just a few minutes every morning, and I would just sit and stare at it and dedicate all my time to this until I was done, because it was that good. Ow, my hand hurts. I've been pounding my fist against it.
Yes. I'm glad you didn't do that against my table.
Is it a special table?
It is a special table. It came from the, I think, Coast Guard Station Chatham?
Rubbing my finger against the table. Mocking the Coast Guard. Mocking. Wait, do you hear the sound of... I hear the sound of water and men shouting. I should hide under the table.
Yeah.
I'll be here until they're gone.
The Cape Media Center, located in Dennisport, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, is a non-profit community media center and the public access TV station for the towns of Barnstable, Yarmouth, Dennis, Harwich, and Chatham. Our mission is to build community through media, enhance democratic communication, and facilitate free expression by providing these towns with a state-of-the-art media resource center. Members can become trained in our video and audio equipment and produce their own media content. Membership includes training classes, access to our field equipment, studios and facility, as well as airtime. Podcasters and music producers can share their content on our website. For more information, visit capemedia.org.
This episode of Bourbon on Ice is brought to you by Market Street Bookshop in Mashpee Commons, located at 31 Market Street, Mashpee, Massachusetts. Embrace diversity and find support for local authors and artists at the Market Street Bookshop, where your favorite new read is just a browse away. For more information, give them a call at 508-539-6985. What you're about to hear is a little bit of a write-up that came from GamesRadar.com by Austin Wood. It came out on December 6, 2022. As I said, there's been some write-ups about this. Meet the animator who turned Pokémon Red into a 3-hour film after 2 years of work. Pokémon Red gets 200 minutes of blood, sweat, and tears. And it basically goes through talking about animator Pedro Araujo. You know what we were saying about... let's give it a second. When I first saw this video, I figured it would be 15 to 30 minutes of the most iconic moments from the classic game, lovingly adapted by hand in a Flash-reminiscent style, which makes for some incredible still-frame reaction images. It's passed 1 million views since then, and oh yeah, it's 3.5 hours long. Holy bleep. Turns out it does feature the best moments from Pokémon Red, like all of them. I reached out to Araujo to learn more about what went into this mammoth project, which has finally been compiled into one epic anime from dozens of individual snippets released over the past 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so literally, people, this is like when an animated movie goes into a studio, and you're like, what took so long? You're just drawing it. Nope.
Yeah, you're drawing it. Every single second needs 30, if it's hand-drawn, usually about 24 to 30 drawings for every second.
Daily, I spent about 4 to 6 hours working on it, or in the other series of the week. That's what he said. He also released other anime in the time Pokemon Red has been in the works. He's got a Sonic one that's coming out now, Sonic in the Dark World. I saw a trailer of it like 2 days ago. It was so cool. And also full of jarring death.
Right,
so I'm in. I balance my time going for one episode of each series a week. He continues, I have 2 friends who work with me doing the color art, so I make them storyboard sketch animations and video edit and send it to them to color. Meanwhile, in the 2 weeks while they color, I use the next week to make this pre-production process of the next video or other series. This isn't just some guy who's doing this in the coziness of his bedroom. He's got almost like a studio network.
Yeah, he's got a team.
And they're good. This is good animation.
Well, you can tell in the very beginning the animation quality is kind of meh. But then it gets so much better. You can see, what's really cool is you can actually see his improvement as the video goes on.
And there is kind of a framing device that goes to this, so you can see that as almost a, how would I put this? Like, better animation versus the classic animation, and it actually sets it apart a little bit.
Yeah. I actually really like that once Green is introduced, her story follows the Fire Red Leaf Green version of the game.
Is that what that was?
Yes, whereas
I had no
Red,
idea who that girl was.
Her name's Green.
I didn't know this. Okay, we'll get into that in a second. Let me finish let me finish reading this. Okay. Every main moment, and every main battle, that's all in there, Araujo says. Even after creating some... Every main moment and every main battle, that's all in there, Araujo says. Even after creating some non-canon moments, like the battle in Sylph Co, that I decided to create to give more importance to the last battle with Team Rocket, there are still the 2 canon moments, the rival battle, the one-on-one versus Giovanni with 4 Pokemon. The things I decided to give more attention to were based on the feedback I had from the audience during these 2 years. People loved the romance between Red and Misty. It was really quite steamy.
It was, as far as Pokemon goes.
The more dramatic, made-me-cry moments, and the Giovanni backstory I've created. Holy frickin' flip. That was... So I focused a lot on these to try to give the community what they liked the best. As for his personal favorite scene, Araujo says he's especially proud of the ending of the Lavender Town arc.
That's good. That's a fair...
I know.
I actually really like that. Despite him saying that he made a lot of things up, he kind of didn't. There's a lot of things that, if you're well-versed in the lore, are sort of hinted at in the Pokemon games. And not necessarily in Red and Blue and Yellow and Fire Red and Leaf Green, but in Gold and Silver and even Ruby, Sapphire, later games down the line.
I want to give a really quick example. You walk into the area known as Lavender Town, you talk to a random little girl and she says, "Do you believe in ghosts?" You can say yes or no. If you say no, she says, "You're right, that white hand on your shoulder, it means nothing. It's not there," or something like that. I forget how she says it. They reference that. He talks to a little girl and you can see, quite literally, a shadowy hand on his shoulder. And I'm just sitting there like, who the hell would remember this? Now, here is the storyline. Red goes from town to town, defeating gym leaders, catching Pokemon, building up his team. That is the storyline until he defeats the Elite Four.
Yep.
Here, they happen to create an actual villain with a very, very intricate backstory. Flesh out several other characters. You mentioned Green. I thought it was just a random girl. I had no idea.
No, she's literally the female trainer from Fire Red and Leaf Green.
I had no idea.
In the original Red and Blue, she was there was promotional art made. Red had a Bulbasaur, Blue had a Charmander, and Green had a Squirtle. And they were all standing in a triangle like they were about to battle.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And that was before you could have a female avatar in the game. And people began calling her Green. She had another name before that, but I don't remember what it was.
She wasn't the girl who Pikachu runs through the skirt of, right?
No.
I'm sorry, ever since you told me that, I cannot stop laughing about it. I will search for Pokemon everywhere, even under that girl's skirt. Like, why? Why, Japan? Why?
Because Japan, that's why.
It's like how Germany creates long and ridiculous words to describe Frosty's life. Japan creates that. We're just going to move on. Did you know I found out that it's illegal to slander in Japan?
Yes, because it impinges someone's honor.
It's beautiful, but it's also a bit much. I mean, you can't leave a bad review for a restaurant.
No.
There was a woman who was angry because she found out her boyfriend was sleeping with a bunch of other women, so she got online and she called him a jerk and a two-timer and all that, and he sued her and won.
Yep.
I mean, if that happened in this country, during the pandemic, we had them lined up outside beauty shops saying, "We demand haircuts." Can you imagine how they would react if they were told, "I'm sorry, Karens, you cannot make fun of people online anymore"? Let's talk about some of the moments we loved. Loved from this thing. Ultra love. Like super love, sweet love, true love, deep love. At last I have deep love. Sorry, I needed that.
Yes, you did.
Okay, moving on. I want to come up with this one because it's ridiculous.
Okay.
I can't believe I have to say this. 2 hours, 14 minutes in. Red almost drowns on a fun little trip.
Yep.
And he hallucinates while being saved, and he sees Missing No. He sees the frickin' Missing No, which is so wrong but awesome. As we talked about, that's the glitch that's in the game, which people exploited to catch things and get lots of money and all sorts of stuff, and it will F your game to effing H.
Yep.
They had to put that in there, and it's so beautiful
they did.
that they did. I love that. I love that so much.
Some of my favorite moments were the reference to the truck in Vermilion City, where you could supposedly find Mew. I also like that he included a glitch where you could find Mew by accident.
And he caught Mew.
Which you can actually do in the original Red and Blue. There's a small series of steps you have to go through.
Tell us all. Share them.
So, The specific pattern you have to go through is you have to have a Pokemon with teleport, you have to have it in your party, you have to make sure that you have not defeated Misty or any of the gym trainers. What you need to do is, after defeating Nugget Bridge, you go down north of Nugget Bridge, take a left into the zone of grass where you catch the eye of one of the trainers. If you are fast enough, you can press start and pull up the menu before he starts moving. That's when you teleport back to the Pokemon Center. Completely avoiding the trainer battle.
Yes.
Go into the gym, battle the first gym trainer, use Growl once. Finish off the trainer. Do not touch anything. Do not go on your menu. Do not change Pokemon slots. You head out. I think I'm missing a step. You can find the full information online if you look for it. And then you go back to Nugget Bridge. If you've done everything correctly, your player will stop. The start menu will pop up on its own without your input. And then once you exit the start menu again, you'll enter a Pokemon battle with Mew at level 5.
Who, in their right mind, just randomly came across that? Everyone stumbled into this crap.
Yes.
Everyone. I just gotta take a quick moment and say, we are, at least one of us is, of an older generation that did not have the internet. I know, that's scary, people. You would go to school in the morning and talk to your friends about video games. And they would say, oh, did you see this? No. Did you find this? You're kidding me. And you would just write it down, file it away in your head. You would do it when you got home, and you'd be, oh my gosh.
It works.
That's a thing. How did the first people find the cheat codes? Luck. Screwing around. How did the first people stumble into the glitches and all this stuff?
Screwing around.
I mean, think of it like the old Final Fantasy games, like 6. Oh, I'm sorry, 3. Was that bitter? I meant it to be. But, that was one of those things where there were no guides out. And you were literally running around the entire map, and you were meeting characters and like, can I get this person? Can he follow me?
Well, yes, but actually, no.
It's like that line, thank you, first guy, for writing it all down.
Yeah.
Who the hell did all of that crap you just said and stumbled into Mew? Someone who was like drunk or very, very lucky?
No, I think it was discovered by once. So what happens is that can happen anywhere in the game where you can escape from a trainer that way. And what happens is only that specific sequence of events will activate Mew. Other sequences of events will activate other Pokemon. So, like, there's one sequence of events, very similar, where you do the same process, but in Viridian Forest, and it gives you a Nidoking.
That is so weird.
Yep.
All right. 2 hours, 50 minutes in. You've got Blue, who is desperate to be the
stronger.
best. And he actually clasps his hands together, at which point you see the text appear, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. You're hearing the song in your head now, aren't you?
Cue the song.
You're totally hearing the song in your head. I said those two lines, and you hear it.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry. That's not what you're hearing. You're hearing, dun, dun, dun. I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Dun, dun, dun. I was on a car trip with some people, and that just came on the college radio station back from Lowell. I was near Lowell. And literally, we all went dun dun dun. And I had this flashback to Wayne's World, the movie, when they're headbanging to Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is our Bohemian Rhapsody moment. It's sad.
It is.
Then there is an unbelievably adorable, and I mean like frigging out the window adorable, at about an hour and 6 minutes in, where you've got Green apparently and Red, who are training, and they have their Eevees, 2 little Eevees together, and they're just running around on the screen. I'm just saying that is the freaking cutest thing I've ever seen.
Yep.
2 baby Eevees. Just
I even noticed a lot of references to the manga. the Pokemon manga.
Tell me.
Well, it mostly seemed like subtle nods, like the whole arc with Giovanni.
Yeah, we'll talk
and
about
Team
that in a
Rocket.
minute.
In the manga, what happens is all the gym leaders are in league with Team Rocket. So it was kind of cool to see the reverse, where all the gym leaders are against Team Rocket.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
I've never read the manga.
Oh, the manga is wicked dark. Pokemon die left and right.
Oh, I have to... tell me more about this. Weren't you mentioning this a little while ago?
I was mentioning the Nuzlocke comics a little while ago.
What is that? Tell me more.
The Nuzlocke comics were created originally by a man named Nick Franco. He's been making comics ever since 2010, when I first started reading his Nuzlocke comics.
Oh, I was going to say, it took you until 2010 to learn how to read, dude.
No. I know, right? Terrible.
I know.
That's what we get for a Cape Cod education round.
I mean, me, math, bad, but you, words, terrible? That's just sad.
It is. Don't rhyme at me. Anyway, since about 2010, he's been making comics for Pokemon, and he started with a set of self-imposed rules.
Rules being?
Rules being, rule number 1, you may only capture the first Pokemon you encounter in each new area you explore. So if you get to Route 1, you can only capture the first Pokemon you find on Route 1. If you fail to catch it, too bad.
Oh, that reminds me. There was this... shout out to the podcast, Remember the Game. You can check them out anywhere because they are anywhere, and it's not analytical. It's just a guy and his friend talking about, hey, do you remember what your feelings were playing this game? They talked about Pokemon, Red, Blue, and Yellow, and one of them said he went through the game with Fire Emblem rules.
Oh ho ho.
As in, if any of your Pokemon got knocked out, you don't heal them. Or if you heal them, you don't use them ever again.
That's actually the second rule of a Nuzlocke.
Oh my gosh,
if a
you're kidding me.
Pokemon faints, you must release it.
Oh, that's terrible. I can't imagine it. Like, you put 50 levels into your Blastoise. I'm sorry, it got knocked out. Goodbye, forever.
And then the third rule, which is an unofficial rule, is you must nickname every Pokemon. That way it hurts just that little bit more when they die.
This guy is an edgelord. I love it.
Yep.
I freaking love that.
And sort of the reason why it's called a Nuzlocke is because one of the first Pokemon that he caught was a Seedot, and for whatever reason, he gave it in the comic. He gave it the face of like John Locke, an actor. And so it evolved into a Nuzleaf, and so it became Nuzlocke.
That's just wrong. It's funny, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that now. All right. Something I loved, a throwaway joke that kept showing up, and you can see it at 27 minutes, 32 seconds, is during the games, you would run into Blue/Gary Oak.
Yep.
And you would hear this music.
Do 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 do.
You would hear that before he showed up, and then you would just see him. As a running joke during Pedro Araujo's movie, he quite literally shows up with a boombox.
Gary Mother Oak.
At one point, he uses a CD. Another time that has like that on it.
Yep.
Another time he has an MP3 player and he goes to the Gary Oak mix, and the music gets played and like people are like, oh, it's him.
Yep.
There's actual speakers. We can hear the music. Everyone's like, oh, he's coming. And I love that. Another one is I'm trying to find it here as I'm looking through. There is a gym leader named Koga who lives in Fuchsia City.
Yep.
Have you ever met someone named Fuchsia?
Someone named Fuchsia?
Yeah, by the way, I was watching a thing on Netflix last night, and there was a woman named Fuchsia. I'm just like, I've heard, lavender, cherry. Apparently you can name someone Fuchsia, too.
Well, I guess any color. You find people named Red.
Yeah, there's Red. You can name someone Red. You're never going to find anyone named Green. Like, no offense, in real life.
Yeah.
You're never going to say, hey, this is my daughter Orange. This is my son Yellow.
I don't think I'd put it past the latest generation coming up.
You know what? I retract the statement. He's totally right. It's going to happen. I'm trying to find the spot here, but Koga is a gym leader in Fuchsia City.
He's a ninja.
And in the second installment, which would be Pokemon Gold and Silver, also incorporating Heart Gold and Heart Silver, an added benefit after going through all of the gyms in the Johto region is you get to cross back into the Kanto region, fight all those gym leaders, and go to the Elite Four. The thing is, you find, to your shock, that Koga is now one of these Elite Four. And the Elite Four used to be Lorelei, was that her name?
Lorelei, Bruno,
Agatha,
Lance.
and Lance. But for some reason, Agatha is gone, and I think Bruno's gone too.
I think Agatha retired.
Agatha is gone, and she's been replaced by Koga. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's so strange. He used to be a gym leader. They made that a plot line in this movie.
Yeah.
He's literally angry looking at these rejection letters to join the Elite Four. At the end, towards the end of this, Agatha hands in to Lance, the highest ranking member of the Elite Four, her retirement notice, at which point Red has the idea and extends the hand of friendship to Koga, and it's just oh my gosh, that pigeon-tails it.
Yep.
It links it so well.
Pigeon-tail, dovetail.
Dovetail, thank you. What the hell was I saying?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Let's not look that up and pretend I said something clever. But you just look at that and you say, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That explains why they're in the next game.
Yep.
Ah!
And it's actually kind of cool that we see Janine, Koga's daughter.
Again, something you kind of overlooked and forgot. Then there's the Sabrina arc.
You really can tell that 30 years of history went into the creation of this movie.
Yes.
And I mentioned it earlier, but every magazine, like if you go back... And
I did see some of the magazines. They were just funny.
Those are actual clippings from in-game in Fire Red and Leaf Green. You can actually find, if you go up and like press A against some of the bookshelves, you can actually find Pokemon Magazine, and it tells you these little bits of information.
Okay, I want to bring this up because this was an epic part of the game. Was I going to say game or movie? But I think... Yeah, let's start with the game. You have a big battle with the criminal organization known as Team Rocket. They pop up sporadically. They say, hey, join us, we're evil, and we have cookies. If you want me to join your evil cult or something, just like lure me with sweets.
I'm allergic to cookies.
Although as a diabetic, I might not do that. Okay, lure me with a really nice vintage glass of something.
Chardonnay?
It's got to be like 20
Scotch?
years, like 30, 20 years. I'm like, okay, you've got something good to drink. I'm there. What do we need to do? Burn down villages, poison a well. Go ahead. You've lured me with drink. Let's do Kefka-esque awful things. Again, speaking about Final Fantasy, Kefka, the most evil villain that has ever eviled. Yeah. I dare anyone out there to say I'm wrong.
He basically wins.
Yeah, I mean, Sephiroth is an edgelord, and he is a jerk, but a badass. But Kefka is just straight up dyed-in-the-wool psychopathic evil.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. You have to fight this criminal organization called Team Rocket, and at one point, you enter a city called Saffron City and find that they have taken over the entire city, and you must infiltrate Silph Co., where they make all sorts of Pokemon products, and battle all of the Team Rockets, and you must battle Giovanni himself, the head of the organization, and you drive them out of the city. You run into a little girl, one of the NPC characters, and she says, it would be so great if the Elite Four, who are, like the authority on Pokemon, came and stomped Team Rocket, and people have joked about this, like, yeah, what the hell are they doing all day? It would make a lot more sense for them to do this.
Yep.
In a completely over-the-top, not overblown, but way over-the-top storyline additive, not canon, that Pedro Araujo wrote in, not only does he and Green and Gary, actually, and Blue, all infiltrate Silph Co to take them on, the gym leaders from across the land rise up and come, and it's a massive battle. The building gets destroyed, and we're talking they bring in a character that was not a character. They bring in Mewtwo.
Yep.
Who was not even a twinkle in the eye of the plot line. you never see Mewtwo. You hear whispers about him here and there.
Yep.
And then you run into him at the end of the game, and that nothing happens with him. It's like, oh, good, you caught this. Game's over.
Although it actually is implied in the games and the Pokemon movie, the very first movie.
Yes.
That Giovanni was looking for the Master Ball to catch Mewtwo. Mewtwo was the result of his years of research.
But in this, they make Giovanni a lunatic who everyone laughed out of boardrooms and scientific circles and mocked because he was obsessed with finding Mew, a Pokemon he spied one day. And because he couldn't have Mew, damn it, he'll make a second Mew.
A Mewtwo.
Ah! Like, that works so hard. Are you proud of yourself? That works so hard. And he goes and he finds it, and he's using Mewtwo to wreak havoc and evil across the land, and he brings Mewtwo into the battle, and they destroy the building, as I said. So much is going on, and this is like a 30-minute chunk of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And when you stop and think about 30 minutes, like, oh, 30 minutes isn't long. In a movie, 30 minutes is a lifetime.
Yeah.
So much can happen in 30 minutes. So much can happen in, like, 60 seconds of a movie. When you hear people saying, like, oh, they added 60 seconds to the movie, you go, oh, 60 seconds. Do you know what can happen in 60 seconds?
A lot.
Yeah. My hand. Oh, my hand was getting wet. It was rosy.
Yes.
I thought a slobbery muck had come into the room. Or a Grimer.
Or a Frumious Bandersnatch.
We'll go with that one. Finally, for me, I just have to throw this in. My favorite part is so cheap. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it because it's so... I'm a sucker for visual gags.
Yep.
I mentioned that Red, loses his spark due to guilt. He has to train with Lieutenant Surge, the Lightning American, and we're doing this training montage where he's getting muscular, and all his Pokemon are getting muscular to the point that they're gross. And then he goes and he fights other people, and what's happening in the background? There's Lieutenant Surge and Lieutenant Surge clones, and they're all headbanging and playing electric guitars, and guitar playing Raichus, and all you're hearing is this dun 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 dun. It's just fucking awesome. And like, this never happened. Nothing even remotely happened, but this is awesome. And then they do a callback to it because Green does the same thing.
Yep.
Like, and they're the guitar playing Raichus.
Yep.
Screw your surfing Pikachu. I want guitar playing Raichu.
I would like to call attention to a comment, and then we'll do that second.
Okay.
One of my favorite scenes is a little bit more subtle. It's when
Boo, subtle, boo.
Just after Red beats Rival Fivel, the 5th rival battle.
Rival Fivel. I like that.
Yep. When he's using the legendary Pokemon, so like Zapdos and Articuno, to beat Blue. And Blue says, you only won because you have the legendary Pokemon, and it has like the option to speak.
Yeah.
I'm using them because I was strong enough to catch him. And he doesn't say anything, and instead goes back to the PC and picks out a team from his like original lineup, basically. The Pokemon that he has the strongest connection to. And I think I like that scene a lot.
I do like that. I mean, I will also point out that even the Pokemon, they're not throwaway characters. You can see inside their own minds. At one point, you've got a Hypno who realizes that he was chosen for the final battle and Mew was shelved. So he gets right back up and he fights, and it's like, oh, what a beautiful detail to throw in there.
Yeah. Okay. And then the comment that I want to call attention to on the YouTube video was, this man did not animate the game we played. He animated the game we lived.
You didn't... this is from at Kentai P 6 months ago. You didn't animate the game we played. You animated the game we experienced. Magnificent.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, and look. At Relicanth wrote, Misty and Red, better love story than Twilight.
Yep.
That's a... Monochrome Shade. I never wanted this to end. This was fantastic. But as I went through this, I did find that some people were saying the same thing we did. Like, I took so long to get around to this because I saw it was over 3 hours, and I regret that.
Yeah.
Bad. Bad. Bad skeptic. Bad. My time is not that precious. I can spare 3 hours.
3 hours is a lot, though.
I know, but when you think about it, there are people who sat through and binged the entire first half of the season 4 of Stranger Things. Like, 10 hours.
Oh, fair enough.
I know. If you can do that, you can watch a 3-hour and 3.5-hour Pokemon movie.
All right, are we ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
And we know how to play this game.
I've read the rules, you've read the rules, we both read the rules.
We've consulted experts, we've been on Reddit and Google Ask.
We've watched online videos. Every single question we've asked has been answered.
We understand the nuances, the intricate details, and we know exactly what has to be done for this to happen.
We have the high-quality game pieces, the expansion packs, and we are all set to play.
Right.
Okay.
So, still want to play?
Nah, sounds boring. Let's do something else.
Okay, if I had to point out one thing that's a little, odd, weird,
Yeah.
but this is anime. The character of Lorelai,
Yeah.
Bazombas. And they kind of made a point of, showing them off, I'm not gonna lie.
Daisy Oak, too.
Yes, I will. Oh, she had her own story arc. I love that she was, literally going around, mapping everything. That she's the one who finds Johto.
Yeah.
I'm sure no one lived there until she discovered it. Did you ever stop and think about that? Johto was a place. It existed. All these Pokemon and people lived there, but no one knew it existed until the next game. Oh, hey, we've been here this whole time.
It's a little bit of a logical stretch. What is it? Mental gymnastics you gotta commit to.
I remember the Pokemon, the first movie, you mentioned that. I'm sitting there seeing that in the theaters, and everyone's like, you're going to see a new Pokemon. It's called Marill. It's a little blue water mouse. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. And then the movie actually starts after the... And there's this guy with a thing there. What is that? It's like an elephant. It rolls up. I've never seen this before.
It's a Dawn fan.
But they didn't mention it. They didn't name it. It just... This whole segment has no words. Just the theme song playing over it. And I'm sitting there like, must not freak out. Movie is just starting. Ignore that.
You know what people called Marill before we knew what its name was?
Blue Mouse.
Pika Blue.
Is that what people were called? Oh, wow.
Yeah, Pika Blue.
Pika. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I found something that I wanted to remind everyone about that just came to me. And this is a perfect still frame. You have to go to 1 hour and 54 minutes and 54 seconds. And you will see, this is that big battle I told you about with a lot of the gym leaders coming together. Wait, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? No, not all of them.
No, we're missing Blaine and Erica. But Erica's
there.
Oh yeah, she's sleeping. Never mind.
But we were weren't there... Or obviously Giovanni.
Yeah, Giovanni
and
Blaine.
Okay, but all these gym leaders have come. They've assembled in the building, and they're going to help fight. But the thing is, this is a massive... It's a send-up. It's a send-up to the fans.
Yep.
You've got 6 of these gym leaders, and they are all posed exactly the way their sprites are if you saw them in the video game.
Yep.
See, I'm turning it. Look.
Yes, I see. I see.
It's just so odd that you've got Koga frozen in midair, and Brock is crossing his arms against his chest with no shirt, and there's Erica sitting on the ground with their eyes closed, and Misty in a bathing suit, one arm over her head and the other, oh my gosh, how did I not see this? It's just the perfect love letter to the fans, this whole thing. I love it. I kind of want to play the original games again.
Why don't we finish our run of Heart Gold and Soul Silver first?
Because that will take forever.
We're almost done.
We're not almost done. I have 1 billion more Pokemon to catch.
You don't need to catch them all.
And then I need to go to the other land, and then I need to kill everything there.
You don't need to catch them all.
But that's the point. And I still am not strong enough. Well, I think that we've obsessed over this enough, and we can just end the podcast right here. Roll that beautiful outro music. But
Wait.
my finger on
No,
the button.
don't you dare touch that button.
What could possibly be so important?
We have to answer Whiskey Asks.
Oh my gosh, we have that.
We do have that.
That's a thing that we do.
That's a thing.
That's a thing.
It's a couple weeks old because we had so many responses to this one.
Right. So people, I'm gonna have to remind you of what the question is, or, I could let Whiskey do it because it was his question. The segment is called Whiskey Asks after all.
So a couple weeks ago, I asked you all if you could learn to play any musical instrument, what would it be?
Although I think it's important that you also were phrasing it on the podcast as in a year.
Yeah, if you could learn it in a year, what would it be?
So we gathered some responses.
At the DJ Ponychan responds, personally, I'd like to learn to play either the ocarina or maybe drums. Drums are an excellent choice, and ocarina, I wonder if that's inspired by Zelda.
Oh, come on, it is... It is totally. They are a gamer, and we are very happy for your input, thank you. But then we have a slew of other ones. I mean, a lot.
A lot. Paul Peter Rumo Fraser says bagpipes. Do you want to piss off your neighbors?
And I believe I myself answered an EWI.
Okay.
Because why not?
Jay Rude says piano. Jonathan Daniels says violin.
Bob, this is Bob, my friend from Plymouth, who sent us that list of words.
Guitar. He's tried several times. Also tried drums and clarinet. Okay, Squidward. John says guitar. Robbie says piano.
That's my other half.
Mark says piano. We got a lot of guitars and pianos.
And I think this one is very important.
Michael Edwards says steel guitar.
There's another piano from Doug.
Rufus Black says the theremin, which is an esoteric and sort of niche pick, and I love it. We play the Doctor Who theme song with that.
For everyone who wonders what a theremin is, it's that horrifying sound you hear in all of those old horror movies where someone has entered a spooky lab, and there's that...
You actually play it by moving where your hands are in relation to the instrument.
I want to point out that Rufus there is actually from the Bahamas.
Oh, rock on.
I know, right? That's great. We have a listener in the Bahamas.
Chris Haycraft says the cello, which is a very nice choice.
Can we get another piano from Humberto all the way in Colombia?
Wow. Rock on. David Bielski, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Violin or accordion, believe it or not. And I respect the accordion pick. I respect that one a lot.
You know how you say you're a dungeon master?
Yeah.
Well, this is my friend who is also a dungeon master, but kink community, not gaming. So that's what the DM stands for, DM James. He wants to learn to play the flute.
That's a very nice instrument.
He's Jethro Tull. And
Robert.
And Joe up in Provincetown wants piano.
Yep, Robert also chooses the theremin. That is probably because you are a Whovian. Oh my goodness.
And this is my friend Justin all the way from Maine.
Okay. Sitar, cello, violin. At least I could do what may not be appropriate for harp. I've done rhythm harp in the same manner as rhythm guitar, trying to do a cover on Orbital. Okay. Could do drums. That's quite a number.
And then this is really great. This is Guido.
Okay.
And Guido wants...
the Moog synthesizer. Wait, Moog says in Final Fantasy Moog?
I'm hoping that's what he means, because I'm just picturing like some sort of instrument in my head played by Moogles. That's great.
Terry Brown says the French horn, though a marimba would also be a close second.
Every day would feel tropical.
Very nice. I like the French horn. Jack Thompson says the fiddle. Loop Garou says also the theremin. Look, we have a lot of theremin.
We have 3 theremins.
The saxophone from Marcelo Reyes. George Bear with another theremin.
Jersey, shout out to Joyzy.
Mark Sockness answers the piano, not an organ. I wonder why. You gotta write me back on this one. Why not an organ? Because the organ is a beautiful instrument in and of itself.
And underneath that, there is yet another piano
from Larry Foyer. Kevin King answers the guitar.
Kevin, I miss you.
Stephen Cartwright says the organ.
Oh, and Kevin from our game nights wrote in. I love his answer so much.
Hand-pan drum, hammered dulcimer, and maybe the theremin. Another theremin.
Can we talk about these 3 answers right here? These are not pedestrian instruments.
No.
Oh, I want to play the guitar. I want to play the saxophone. I want to play...
The piano.
No, he wants to play...
Specifically.
The hand-pan drum, which I have to look up now.
Or a hammered dulcimer. That's also very nice. A lovely instrument.
And again, the frickin' theremin.
Yep.
What is with this resurgence of theremins?
I have no idea. I wonder if it's just particular to our little community that we've amassed. Tano says guitar. William Hale Jr. answers the accordion.
Okay, so there is a man who is stationed far away on a tropical island, and he writes back to his wife saying, "My darling, I am surrounded by beautiful young women, and I fear that I will fall to temptation. If only you could send me something that will distract me." So she sends him an accordion. And when he returns after 5 years on this island, he says to her, "My darling, I stayed faithful to you the entire time." She said, "All right, well, let's hear you play that accordion." Little joke I had to slip in there from Come From Away. Oh my gosh, another one.
Yeah, another theremin. And a pipe organ as well. Devin Poor says the skin flute.
Let's just assume he's making a sexual joke. I know who Devin is. That's the kind of person he is.
Alrighty. Troy Reed says the saxophone, so I could play Eddie's solo from the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Perpetuity, bless my soul. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. Kirk is never going to let me... Robert is never going to let me live that. Oh,
nope.
Gosh.
All the Bayat buddies. Thomas May says the drums. Peter Kim says not the side flute, but he answered
slide flute.
Oh, the slide flute. He actually sent us a video. Kirk
Circus Kirkus
sent us the piano or Spanish guitar.
Oh.
The flamenco is lovely. I cannot read that name, but I do recognize it as Hebrew. The erhu.
I don't know what an erhu is.
An erhu is a 2-stringed instrument from China with a snakeskin drum.
Sounds exotic.
It is exotic, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's actually noted as the only instrument that can sound like a human voice. Has that same kind of range.
Bill says piano, Jeff says guitar, and...
Odin says violin.
I think there's just something so awesome about a guy named Odin playing the violin.
It is something pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
You're
everyone,
awesome.
for the huge mountain of responses on this one.
Wow, that was a lot. I think this one was a success.
As do I.
We shall never do another Whiskey Asks again. You people just ate up like 50 minutes of our time going through all these.
But we appreciate it all the same.
There will be more.
There will be many more.
But for now, we're done.
We're done.
That's it.
This has been a long episode.
This has been a good episode.
Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you. You nerds, you.
Yeah.
I am your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey.
And as always,
have a cold one on us.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Playlists.
Oh, yeah, the playlist.
I think we've been threatening each other with that. I dare you to listen to my playlist. I've added more stuff. Oh.
I've already finished.
Oh, crap. I should
It was about 6 hours and change.
That's all it took?
That's all it took.
I should really get started on yours.
This podcast was recorded at and produced by Cape Media Center on Cape Cod, Massachusetts by podcasting duo Mike Whiskey and your friend Frosty. All music and sound credits go to soundstripe.com. Special thanks to Jamie Horton, Emily Tulloch, Gabrielle Rawson. For more information on Bourbon on Ice, visit our social media page at twitter.com/whiskeyfrosty. For more information on Cape Media Center, visit capemedia.org. For more listening options and a variety of podcasting entertainment, visit our hosts at buzzsprout.com and capemediacenter.org.